Welcome to Heartbreak Chronicles. I received a message that my wife Olivia had made a reservation at a restaurant for our 10th wedding anniversary. This is quite unexpected, as I am usually the one who handles these things. However, by the end of the night, all I got was a message that she had to work late. Shortly after that, I saw an update on social media posted by her colleague Leo. Only someone who cares about you knows how to spoil you. Exquisite restaurant, beautiful women. The cake was sweet tonight, but not as sweet as your kisses. The picture is of him and Olivia in an intimate pose, and she's wearing the necklace I gave her that morning. On the table was the red wine I had given her. I immediately recognized the restaurant in the photo. Exactly the place where Olivia and I have so many great memories and where I proposed to her. In the past, I might have immediately confronted Olivia, but this time all I felt was exhaustion. When Olivia came home, I was eating mango, which is something she's allergic to. For years, we never stored mangoes in our house for her allergies. Olivia seemed a little surprised to see me still awake and casually handed me the gift she had prepared, an expensive watch. "Happy anniversary, honey," she said. She was a good wife, not only taking, but giving as well. However, this year I was caught off guard by the message sent to me by the restaurant owner. He has known us since our college days and joked that he was still single while congratulating us. Then he mentioned a new cake and asked if I wanted to try it. I asked if it contained mango, and he confirmed that it did not, so I agreed. Right after Olivia called to tell me she had to work late and couldn't spend the evening with me. That night, I couldn't sleep and was scrolling through my phone when I saw Leo's post. The photo is of him and Olivia at the restaurant with wine and the necklace I gave her. The cake had mango sauce in it, which is something Olivia can't eat. I was too tired to question her or argue anymore. I didn't even mention Leo's post, but had a sudden craving for mangoes. I ordered takeout and enjoyed the mango, something I haven't done in years because of Olivia's allergies. After eating the mango, I said, "If there's nothing else, I'm going to bed." Olivia looks surprised and grabs my arm and says, "Ethan, it's our anniversary." I looked at her confused and asked, "So?" She frowned closer to me, whispering in my ear in an ambiguous voice, "Do you really have to go to bed so early on a night like this?" Olivia has maintained a cool, detached exterior. After college, her glasses only added to her intellectual charm and made her look more distant. But tonight, I could smell the faint odor of smoke on her. I took a step back, avoiding her kiss, and said, "I just ate a mango. You'll be allergic." I went into my bedroom, locked the door, and lay down. My cell phone rang. It was my supervisor, Amanda, asking if I had really decided to take that position. "If you back out again because of Olivia, I swear I'll kill you," she said. I smiled and replied, "I'm not backing down again. If I flinch, I'll send my head to you." Positions in the advertising department will offer a higher salary, but will require frequent travel. I turned down the position 3 years ago because of Olivia. She's always been a traditional woman, and I know she can't handle the instability of the two of us barely seeing each other for most of the year. The first time I held her hand took me over 6 months. In middle school and high school, my best friends often found Olivia boring. They don't understand why I like her. I would smile and tell them that because she saved my life. Really, this happened in middle school when an earthquake hit our school. Everyone panicked and ran out the door, and I walked ahead of the crowd. I tripped over a table and fell, but Olivia broke through the crowd and found me against the flow. She made sure to walk ahead, close to me, and we escaped together. Later, I asked her, "What were you thinking? If you die, won't all your dreams and efforts be for nothing?" Olivia seemed taken aback by the question, but she replied, "I don't think about it that much." In that moment, I just thought, if I can't escape, I'd rather die with you. That's Olivia, always putting others before herself. But now, I wonder if she ever thought that one day she would leave me for someone else. I never doubted her sincerity, but sincerity fades with time. My supervisor must have sensed something was wrong in my tone. "Everyone makes mistakes," she said. "It's easier to complain about the past than to fix the problem. Ethan, I hope you always have the courage to change things when necessary." Then, with a bit of sarcasm, she added, "Of course, perfect people like me never make mistakes, but people like you. You're not perfect, so it's understandable. But whatever happens, even if you lose this woman, don't lose your job. You start in 3 days and have an immediate business trip to Argentina. You can't get distracted." The next morning, I woke up early to go to the office to work on my current assignment. Olivia is sitting in the living room, her lips swollen, probably from an allergy to the mango in the cake after her date with Leo. I walked past her and was about to go out the door when she grabbed my wrist. Looking somewhat defensive, she asked, "Why are you angry? Is it because I didn't spend time with you yesterday? I told you I had to work overtime. The company is about to go public, and as a woman, do you know how hard it was for me to climb the ladder to management? So many eyes on me. How can I not lead by example? You always said you'd support my career, so why are you doing this to me now?" I have tolerated her cold and distant attitude for years. Even when she didn't know I was hospitalized because she was too busy with work or when I couldn't reach her, I didn't say anything. Until one day, I went to pick her up from work, and while she was putting on her makeup, her cell phone rang. She answered quickly, speaking sweetly to the person on the other end of the line, and that was the first time I heard her mention Leo. It was then that I realized she wasn't too busy to answer the phone. She just didn't think I was worth sharing that side of her life. I broke away from her and said, "That's enough. Olivia, we're done." Before I could finish, her cell phone rang again. She glanced at the screen, gave me an apologetic look, and answered the phone. "It's Leo. Sis, come pick me up. It's so cold today, I don't want to get out of bed. If you don't come, I'll be late and won't get paid." Olivia's face softens almost automatically as she replies, "You're afraid of the cold? It's the guy who climbs snowy mountains at night. All right, Leo, get up. You brought me breakfast today, didn't you?" I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Leo, sensing something was amiss, added, "By the way, thank Ethan for me. Not only did I eat at his restaurant, I borrowed one of his. I'll be sure to give him a great gift." When Olivia hears Leo, she gives me a guilty look, but quickly looks away. Instinctively, she lowered the volume of her cell phone. I couldn't help but laugh, a bitter laugh. I shook my head and turned away. But Olivia quickly rejects Leo's call and rushes after me. Leo had clients for dinner, but forgot to make a restaurant reservation, so I gave him our spot. It's all about the job, you understand, right? She probably doesn't realize how ridiculous that sounds. But Olivia wasn't done. Later, when I tried to get her to cook me some porridge because I wasn't feeling well, she put on her coat and said, "Leo doesn't have any food at home. I'll go make him something." I freeze, not knowing whether to ask her about her relationship with Leo or why she's cooking for another man. But she didn't give me a chance. She left in such a hurry that she didn't even notice me curled up sick on the couch. It's so different from high school. Back then, Olivia would coldly scold me if I showed the slightest bit of stress or skipped a meal. But during emergency breaks, she always magically pulls out a steaming bowl of rice pudding and says, "Eat. If I don't take care of you, you'll only get worse." When I arrived at the office, my supervisor threw a pile of papers on my desk. "Deal with all of this in 3 days, or come to me with your head in your hands." I was working late into the night, and when I checked my phone, I saw draft divorce papers from my attorney. In the middle of a snowstorm, I took a cab straight to Olivia's office building, but when I got to her floor, the power was out. I frowned and turned on my phone's flashlight. It was then that I received a link from a coworker. His tone was hesitant. "Isn't this the heavy metal concert you've always wanted to go to?" Confused, I clicked on the link. It took me to a poster on Leo's account that captured all of his moments with Olivia. He's known her since high school, followed her to college, and now works for her company. His profile reads, "It's not just your prerogative to swoon over her." I clicked on the video and understood why my coworker hesitated to share it. In the video, the concert lights flicker on Leo and Olivia's faces. They held hands in the crowd and kissed passionately. My phone slipped out of my hand and slammed to the floor as anger filled my chest. Olivia and I have been together most of our lives, almost our entire existence. And yet, despite this, I feel like I don't know her at all. From her office, I heard a slight sob. Olivia choked back a sob. "I'm sorry, but we really can't." A male voice replied, I just like you. What did I do wrong?" The boy put his arm around her waist and gently caressed her tear-stained face. Leo kisses Olivia on the cheek, his eyes filled with sadness. I watched his hand slide from her waist to the back of her head. In the darkness, they shared a long, lingering kiss. Boom! The power came back on and the lights illuminated the room. They finally noticed me standing in the doorway. Leo quickly said, "Ethan, it's not what you think. I just love her so much. It's not Olivia's fault." Olivia looked a little confused when she saw me. Her lips were slightly parted and water glistened on them. "Ethan, why are you here?" she asked. I looked at her calmly, then smiled and walked towards Leo. But in the next second, I slammed my fist hard into his face. Before he could fall, I grabbed him by the collar and pulled him close, glaring viciously at him. "That punch was for your pathetic face. I've seen a lot of women who put on airs, but I've never seen a man like you. It makes me sick." He tried to argue, but I immediately punched him in the stomach with such force that he bent over in pain. Olivia snapped out of her trance and was about to speak when I backhanded her. She covered her cheeks and her eyes filled with tears. "She looks hurt." I coldly removed my wedding ring and threw it at her like a piece of trash. When it hit her, she finally began to sob, tears streaming down her swollen cheeks. "Ethan, don't do this. Please let me explain." I interrupted her and handed her the printed divorce papers. "Olivia, we're getting a divorce." Olivia chased me down the stairs from the office, despite all her dignity. "Ethan, please listen to me. It's not what you think." Half the building was watching, and it was embarrassing. I hailed a cab and prepared to leave. In the falling snow, Olivia clings to the car door and won't let me close it. Her expression was almost pleading as she said, "There's really nothing between us. He's just a kid. He doesn't know any better." I sneered, "He's not old enough. So you're just teaching him how to kiss ahead of time, are you?" My tone was calm. She looked at me, her eyes reddening as if she were gazing at a ship that would never return. She choked out, "Don't look at me like that, Ethan. Please don't look at me like that. We've been together for over 10 years. I can't live without you. Leo was just an accident." Her voice was getting smaller and smaller. But then someone called out from behind her, "Olivia, Leo's on the roof. Come on." Instinctively, she let go and turned around. I let out a mocking laugh and shut the car door without hesitation. In the rearview mirror, I saw Olivia follow me for a few steps. But then she stopped, turned, and ran into the building. I closed my eyes. Once the anger subsided, the stabbing pain in my chest finally hit me. The driver glanced at me through the rearview mirror. His voice was full of concern. "Hey kid, you okay?" I wiped my face and turned my head away, keeping silent. When I got home, I started packing my stuff. Shortly afterward, Olivia's parents and my parents called me. Olivia is indeed busy, I thought bitterly. She has to calm Leo down from jumping and still has time to notify both parents to be peacemakers. Olivia and I have been together for over 10 years. Our connection is more entangled and harder to untangle than most couples. In the end, my parents simply said, "Son, we just want you to make decisions that make you happy." As I gathered my things, I opened the door to find Olivia standing there with despair on her face. Olivia looks like a child who's done something wrong and trembles as she reaches for my hand. "Ethan, please don't leave. Let me explain everything." I stared at her silently, and then she broke down. "I'm begging you. Hit me, call me names, do whatever you want. Just don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that." She was pressed up against my suitcase, desperately trying to stop me from leaving. "Ethan, we promised we'd grow old together. Our parents are looking forward to our return in the new year. You can't leave me now. Mommy and Daddy miss you." I sighed deeply and looked at her. "What do you want, Olivia?" She almost fell to her knees and hugged my legs, her tears soaking my shirt. Crying uncontrollably, she pleaded, "Please give me a chance. I promise I'll do better." I didn't answer her immediately. Instead, my eyes fell on the old college graduation picture that had slipped out while I was packing. As I looked closer, I realized something. It's not just Olivia and I in the photo. Leo was there too, standing under the tree in the background, gazing at Olivia, whose eyes were not on me. They're on him. So this started so early, didn't it? I thought those moments were just between Olivia and me, but all along, there were others in the picture. Olivia shudders and avoids meeting my eyes, like a criminal awaiting punishment. To her surprise, I softly said, "Okay." She looked up, her eyes bright with incredible hope. "Really, Ethan, would you like to start over with me?" After a pause, I nodded and unexpectedly added, "Sure, but on one condition." I paused, my voice smooth. "Remember that island trip we planned to go on in high school? All these years, we've never been. I want us to go to the island for a 5-day vacation." Olivia immediately agrees, throwing herself into my arms and whispering, "It's that simple." I nodded, even though deep down, I knew she couldn't keep her promise. As I reflect on it all, Olivia's attraction to Leo isn't as surprising as I first thought. Her life has been carefully organized and controlled by her family's rules. From Beijing to the capital, from her education to her marriage, and even with me as her childhood sweetheart, her future was always an already paved road, calm and predictable. But when life feels too safe for too long, it's natural to crave excitement. Leo was the kind of excitement she craved. He's rebellious and adventurous. He would take her on late-night hikes up snowy mountains, stay at concerts all night until dawn, and kiss her at sunrise on the beach. No matter how introverted a person may be, it's hard not to be drawn to this intense passion. Olivia told me that after the vacation, she would be by my side every day to make sure I never got tired of her. It's like she's afraid I'll change my mind. She took care of every detail of arranging the trip to the island and seemed excited to finally go on the trip we had planned so long ago. From flight booking to hotel selection, she took care of everything, showing unprecedented enthusiasm and attention. She even began to prepare her luggage, giving serious thought to the weather and possible activities on the island. Meanwhile, I was ostensibly cooperating with her plan, but was actually secretly making my own preparations. I took advantage of my job and contacted colleagues abroad to explore the possibility of a job transfer. I further confirmed the divorce process with my attorney to make sure it was legally foolproof. I also started moving my important documents and personal belongings to a storage unit that Olivia didn't know about. Every step of the way was part of my revenge plan, and she was completely unaware of it. I skimmed through social media. Leo keeps posting, almost torturing himself, sharing his feelings for Olivia. I watched coldly. Today, he couldn't resist posting something blunt. The person she loves is me. I couldn't help but laugh and reply to a post of my own. From now on, I will be living on the island with my wife. The past is gone, gone like smoke. Today is a new beginning. I just want to hold her hand from now on. The purpose of this post is clear. I want everyone to believe that I forgive Olivia and that we are going to start over together. That way, when my true plans are revealed, the blow will be even more unexpected. I knew Leo would see this post, and his reaction was what I expected. Leo can't help himself and asks for a meeting. We met at a cafe. He gritted his teeth and asked, "After everything, are you really going to forgive her? Are you really going to stay with her?" I smiled and didn't answer. He said in exasperation, "Are you really leaving? Really moved to the island? Why hasn't she said anything to me?" He added in frustration. I threw my supervisor's expedited visa on the table. Half jokingly, Olivia and I have been together for over 10 years. She begged me to give her another chance, and I told her I would forgive her if she would drop everything and leave with me. Of course, she agreed. I smiled, but there was no warmth in my eyes. Leo now says angrily, "That's impossible. I've done so much for her. She told me she loved me." His anger was palpable, but I could hear the pain lurking in his voice. I stared at him coldly. Leo took Olivia on Valentine's Day, messaged me to expose their relationship, and let me catch them kissing, all to get me to give her up. What he doesn't understand is that I'm deeper in Olivia's heart than he realizes. His plan backfired. In anger, Leo lunged at me. But what can a small man like him do? I easily blocked him, pouring coffee over his head and slapping him hard enough to knock him to the ground before he could react. I crouched down and grabbed his hair, forcing him to meet my eyes. Smiling, I sneered at him. "Pathetic. You really think Olivia loves you, don't you? Too bad for you. You don't really believe she loves you, do you?" His face, full of frustration and resentment, made me fight the urge to vomit. I repeated one last time that if Olivia chose to leave with me, I would forgive her and we would start over. But if she doesn't, I'll never forgive her. His expression changed, and I could tell he understood. As we got closer to our planned departure, I began to notice that Olivia's behavior was becoming more and more nervous. She was often checking her cell phone in secret and was more distracted than usual. I knew she was keeping in touch with Leo, and that was part of my plan. I'm going to give her a choice, one that will expose her true self. At the airport, Olivia anxiously checks her cell phone, lips tightly closed. "Ethan, this time it's different. Leo was in a car accident. It's serious. Can we postpone the trip?" I stared at her silently, my eyes following the contours of her face. Then I said, "I know why you didn't go to that concert with me." Olivia freezes, her lips twitching as she tries to smile, but fails. It was Leo's birthday that night. He invited me. I can't turn him down. I smiled bitterly. That's my favorite band, Olivia. I've told you since I was a teenager that on my birthday, you kept asking me what my wish was. I told you I wanted enough money to see them live. You got mad and asked me why my wish didn't include taking you with me. I paused and continued. My birthday wish when I turned 18 was to see that concert with you. Don't you remember? But I went alone. I didn't know my wife was in a crowd, kissing people. I even sent her a message during the concert reminding her to eat, but she never replied. I could see the shame spreading across her face as I said those words. She began to panic, her voice rising as if to argue. There will be other opportunities. I interrupted her. My voice was smooth. It won't be. It was their farewell concert. There won't be another one. I looked her in the eye and repeated, there won't be another one. We were silent for a moment, and then, without warning, I relaxed and waved her away. Go for it. He was in a car accident, and you were his supervisor. If you don't go, it's going to look bad. As for the islands, I laughed, looking at her and feeling the weight of the 18-year-old pouting and insisting we go to the islands. I added, we'll go next time. It was the last test I gave her, one I knew she would fail. If she really chooses me and really wants our marriage, she'll stay. But I know her too well to know what she would choose. Olivia, looking as if she's been granted a reprieve, rushes out of the airport, through the snow and rain, and hurries to Leo's side. As she disappeared from sight, I began to execute my real plan. I tore up the ticket in my hand and threw it in the trash. Then I printed out a new ticket, destination, Argentina. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision, but the first step in my carefully planned revenge. Prior to this, I had gathered all the evidence of Olivia's relationship with Leo, including their message exchanges, social media postings, and photos I had stumbled upon of them together. I created a detailed slideshow documenting their infidelity, including dates, places, and specifics. This slide deck is very professional and as fine as my work in the advertising department. I then saved this material to a planned distribution list that includes our family, friends, coworkers, and Olivia's company management. Before boarding my flight to Argentina, I hit the send button. This document will be automatically sent to everyone on the list when I leave Canadian airspace. At the same time, I sent Olivia's attorney complete divorce papers to ensure that legal proceedings had been initiated. As the plane took off, I felt a sense of liberation. I know Olivia will be angry when she finds out that Leo's car accident was a lie, but her anger will soon be replaced by an even bigger shock when she realizes that her affair is known to the world and her husband has left her. When Olivia wakes up, she finds herself in a man's arms. The man was kissing her face gently. Something didn't feel right. Her eyes widened. It's not Ethan. Yesterday, she rushed to the hospital and found out that Leo's car accident was a lie. At first she was angry, but Leo tearfully said, Olivia, I've loved you for so many years. One last time. Can't you just stay with me one more time? A voice inside her urged her to leave. Ethan must be so angry right now. They grew up together and spent 7 years of marriage together. Everything looks perfect. She couldn't leave Ethan, but looking at Leo's red, swollen eyes as he gently stroked her cheek, how could she deny him? Olivia had a sudden sense of foreboding, like an omen. When you're about to lose something important, you can feel it, an instinctive fear, like falling from a tall building in a dream. For no reason at all, she remembered the look on Ethan's face when he'd waved goodbye to her at the airport yesterday. It was nostalgic and determined. It's like he's saying goodbye. She almost jumped up from the bed to grab her cell phone. But Leo, confused, asks, Olivia, what's wrong? Her cell phone is dead. Her heart raced as she looked at the black screen, hoping it would charge quickly. The look on her face startled Leo. Finally, the phone powered up and a call came in. It was her mother who yelled at her. It took Olivia a moment to understand what was happening. Ethan gathered evidence of her affair with Leo and created a slideshow with attachments, which she sent to all of their family, friends, and co-workers. The last slide had Ethan's typical style, a photoshopped image of her and Leo's wedding with a handwritten note that read, "Let's wish the cheating couple a lifetime of childless, eternal happiness." After hanging up, she opened her messages. Her social media accounts were filled with messages and comments, some shocking, some sympathetic, but mostly critical. Her co-workers were already discussing this in a group, and her boss sent a message asking her to come to the office immediately to talk. She had an email in her inbox from Human Resources mentioning the need to discuss the company's code of conduct and inappropriate relationships between supervisors and subordinates. Her whole world fell apart in a matter of hours. She tried to call Ethan, but the call went straight to voicemail. She contacted his friends, but no one knew where he was, or they wouldn't tell her. She even went to his office, but was told Ethan had been transferred and would be working abroad for a while. Olivia drove frantically, running red lights, her thoughts all occupied with Ethan. Winter weather made the roads dangerous, and she skidded sideways several times and almost had an accident. Despite the danger, she couldn't focus on anything other than getting home and finding Ethan. He has always been so forgiving, so kind. She hoped, even now, that there was a chance to fix everything. This sense of urgency weighed on her. But when she finally arrives home, she finds the house empty. Ethan packed up almost everything and left. She recalled the joke she'd made in preparation for her trip to the islands that they wouldn't be gone forever. Ethan just smiled and said nothing. A painful realization settled in her mind. He's been planning to go away for a while. She refused to accept it. They spent most of their lives together. She couldn't live without him, and she was sure he felt the same way. If she apologizes sincerely and makes things right, he will forgive her as he did before. But when she went to his office, his supervisor coldly told security to kick her out. Amanda, the tough female executive he kept mentioning, looked at her with contempt. "You've hurt my best employee. Now get out, or I'll have security drag you out." Even when she managed to reach one of Ethan's coworkers, she was treated with contempt. Ethan's always been a good man. He doesn't deserve to be treated like this. He now finally sees the truth and chooses a better life. You should be ashamed of yourself, Olivia. As the days go by, she looks around for him, only to find that Ethan has taken a new job and is now traveling nonstop with no set date for his return. His absence seemed intentional, a slow separation she hadn't foreseen. As she went through their old messages, she saw how distant they had become, jokey expressions replaced by unanswered texts. His social media posts are now completely devoid of any references to their lives. Just one sentence. When did you decide to break up? When you realize that every day of your future is going to feel suffocating. At the same time, her professional life is in crisis. As a result of Ethan's revelations, the company investigates her relationship with Leo. Their relationship violates company policy, especially because Leo is her subordinate. After a series of awkward meetings and investigations, Olivia is demoted and Leo is fired. Her professional reputation took a serious hit, and the image of her career that she had worked so hard to build over the years crumbled overnight. After finishing my business, I decided to spend some time exploring Argentina. The country, 22,000 kilometers from home, is basking in the midday of summer when the sun gilds everything with a golden hue. In Buenos Aires, tango dancers twirl through the streets, and the air is filled with a mix of European glamour and Latin passion. A business partner invited me to Mendoza, where the vineyards stretch out in the summer sun like a sea of green grapes. As I sipped my Malbec, Olivia's call came in. Her voice was hoarse as she asked, "Ethan, where are you?" I paused, took a sip of my drink and replied, "What do you want on the other side of the world? If you've signed the divorce papers, send them to my office. If not, don't bother." She was silent, and just as I was about to hang up, she suddenly said, "I'm sorry." Her sobs came, full of helplessness and pain, like a child lost in a crowded store. "Ethan, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Tell me what to do, and I'll do anything. 20 years. We've been together for over 20 years. Are you really just going to let it go? How can you be so heartless?" I smiled to myself. She must have heard me because her sobbing stopped. In a panic, she asked, "Ethan, why are you smiling?" I let out a breath and bowed my head. "You're always like that. Always so sure I love you. So sure that if you show me your pain, I'll feel sorry for you. But Olivia, have you ever thought that I don't love you anymore?" The words were like a knife deep into her heart. Her sobbing turned into real crying as she pleaded with me to give her a chance, telling me she would change and do anything to get me back. But I've made up my mind. I told her that my attorney would handle all of the divorce proceedings and that she just needed to sign the papers. Then I hung up, turned my cell phone off, and continued to enjoy my wine and the beauty of Argentina. My new life began abroad. My job has given me the opportunity to travel the world, from South America to Europe to Asia. With each new place I visit, I discover new beauty and possibilities. I started learning new languages, trying new foods, and meeting new people. I find myself no longer bound by the pain of the past, but drawn to the possibilities of the future. My social media accounts are now filled with photos of me around the world, without any mention of Olivia or my past life. I began to make new connections in city after city, sometimes brief friendships, sometimes deeper relationships. But I never allowed anyone to get too close, and I learned to keep a certain distance to protect myself from getting hurt again. Meanwhile, I receive regular news about Olivia's life. Through mutual friends and family, I learned that her career had been dealt a serious blow. She was demoted and lost the management position she had worked so hard to obtain. Leo was also fired, and due to my revelations, he was blacklisted in the industry and had a hard time finding a new job. Their relationship deteriorated rapidly under the pressure. Leo starts blaming Olivia for ruining his life, and Olivia blames Leo for seducing her into cheating on me. Arguments between them became more frequent and sometimes even violent. Eventually, Leo leaves her to start a new life in another city, leaving Olivia alone with the wreckage of her life. The next time I returned home was New Year's Eve. The problem with childhood sweethearts is that they know each other too well. As my family gathered for a reunion dinner, there was a knock on the door. I opened the door to find Olivia standing there, looking disheveled, thinner than before, her hair disheveled, her face hollowed out by pain. She looks defeated and helpless. The PPT I created has ruined her and Leo's reputation within their social circles. That seems like justice. Olivia goes into a downward spiral as those who once supported her begin to retreat, disillusioned by the truth. I heard some rumors at dinner. As for me, I haven't spoken to her since we last spoke on the phone. The streets were filled with the warm glow of family and fireworks lit up the sky in the distance. Olivia looks at me, her face a portrait of despair, yet a glimmer of hope still shines in her eyes. She struggled to speak, her words constantly halting. Every year we always spent New Year's Eve together. Ethan, I love you. I really can't live without you. I stared at her, and suddenly memories of her from my youth came flooding back when she snuck out on New Year's Eve. Her cheeks flushed just to give me a thin red rope bracelet she had woven herself. I thought seeing her again would be painful, but instead I felt nothing. Traveling around the world and seeing new places over the past few months has filled me in a way I hadn't anticipated. The sound of fireworks rang through the air, announcing the end of the year, the end of the long winter at last. A new year has begun. I looked at Olivia and said, "Olivia, come on, it's New Year's, seeing you like this. It makes me sick." Her face turned pale, and without another word, I closed the door. When my parents asked who that was, I just shook my head. No one. Then I returned to the warmth of family dinners. Scramble for the last piece of beef in the fondue pot and be surrounded by laughter and holiday cheer. It's perfect. I still have my family. My business has skyrocketed under Amanda's so-called excellent leadership. I quickly adapted to a life of constant traveling, sending postcards from each new place I visited. My mom, having mastered a few internet phrases, now calls me her traveling frog. I began to gain more recognition within the company and was appreciated for my creativity and execution. I was even promoted to team leader to manage international projects. This time, I was in Japan, walking towards a fireworks festival, eating mango bread as I went. My mom, always worried. She called me and said, "Son, be careful. I've heard there are a lot of earthquakes in Japan." I laughed, reassuring her that earthquakes weren't all that common. But as luck would have it, the Japan Meteorological Agency issued an unprecedented earthquake warning for the South China Sea Trough. The flights home were all full, and I was unreachable for some time. My mom, panicked, started praying, even lighting incense in the middle of the night for my safety. Meanwhile, Olivia hears the news and buys a plane ticket to Japan. Leo still follows her, even though he has lost his job and is blacklisted. They are in a toxic relationship that they can't get out of. Olivia's career is at a low point and her personal life is a mess. She relies on Leo for emotional support and Leo relies on her for financial support. They are bound by their mutual pain and resentment, but cannot really be separated. When Olivia told Leo she was going to Japan to meet me, he burst into a rage. "Are you crazy? He ruined our lives. If he wants to contact you, he will. He doesn't want to see you. Leo pleaded with her. Don't be silly. Even if you go, Ethan won't forgive you. Don't you understand? But Olivia wasn't listening. In the middle of their fight, she grabs a jug and smashes it over Leo's head. Blood gushed from his forehead as he screamed, "He doesn't love you. Don't you get it? I'm the only one who loves you." Without a word, Olivia left, leaving him behind. She was driven by a desperate determination to believe that if she could talk to me face to face, she could repair our relationship. She believed the history and connection between us was strong enough to overcome this betrayal. When she arrived in Japan, she immediately started looking for me. She knew which hotel I was staying at because she found the confirmation email in an old mailbox we shared. She came to the hotel, but the front desk told her I wasn't there. She decided to wait and sat in the lobby, hoping to see me. It was here that the earthquake struck. The building began to shake and ceiling fixtures fell. People ran around screaming. Olivia is pushed against a wall by the panicked crowd, and when the wall collapses, she is buried under the rubble. I finally made it back to my country, despite flight delays. Just before takeoff, my broken cell phone received a call from an unknown number, but the flight attendant urged me to turn it off. I did as I was told, and the call slipped from my mind. Once home, I comforted my family and quickly returned to work, until Leo showed up outside my office building. He was no longer the confident man he used to be, red-eyed and disheveled. "Where's Olivia? Give me back my Olivia," he demanded. I frowned, watching him through the glass door, wondering how he got so messed up. Leo's appearance has completely changed. He looks like he hasn't slept or showered in days. There was a maddening gleam in his eyes, and his mannerisms suggested a broken mental state. "She went to you. She went to Japan. Now she won't answer my calls or text me back. What did you do to her?" Olivia arrived in Japan before the earthquake, and now it all makes sense. I remembered the strange phone call from earlier, but I kept my cool and told security to take Leo away. I told him, "I don't care. She's your girlfriend now, not mine." When I got back to my office, my cell phone rang. It's an international number. When I answered, it was the voice of a Japanese policeman. He told me in accented English that Olivia had been injured in the earthquake and that her ID listed me as the emergency contact. My heart stopped for a moment, but I quickly regained my composure. I asked the basic questions. What hospital was she in? What were her injuries? Were they life-threatening? The police told me that her life was not in danger, but her leg was crushed and she might never walk again. Then he asked me if I would go to Japan to see her. I was silent for a moment, then said I would contact her parents, but I wouldn't be there. The bad news came from Olivia's parents, who eventually informed my family. Olivia didn't survive. Her injuries were not fatal, but her leg was crushed. She suffered a severely comminuted fracture of her leg bone that required multiple surgeries. Doctors told her that she may never be able to walk properly and will need to use crutches or a wheelchair. But the deeper damage is psychological. In the hospital, Olivia realizes that no one will come to see her. Her parents couldn't leave the country because of health issues. Leo didn't have a passport or the money for a plane ticket, and I, her last hope, refused. She lies in a hospital bed in a strange country, completely alone, broken in body and spirit. My mother, heavy with news. She cautiously asked, "Son, are you going to see her?" I shook my head and replied, "No. Olivia and I, we don't have anything to do with each other anymore." My mother didn't blame me. She understood my pain and decision. But there was a hint of sadness in her eyes for the girl who had been part of our family. After hanging up, I looked out the window of another new country. This is my 10th country since I started working, a place full of possibilities and new experiences. How much beauty awaits me. I can't wait to see it. As for the past, I've learned to let it go. Olivia and Leo pay the price of their betrayal. Their careers are ruined. Their relationships crumble. Their reputations are tarnished. Olivia now has to deal with a lifelong physical disability, a permanent reminder of the consequences of the choices she has made. As I was getting ready to explore this new city, my phone rang again. It's my supervisor, Amanda. "Hey, Ethan, I just heard about Olivia. Are you okay?" I smiled and replied, "I'm fine, Amanda. In fact, I was just about to go out for dinner. The city has a restaurant that supposedly serves the best local food, and I can't wait to try it." "Okay, then go enjoy yourself. By the way, the board likes your latest proposal. They approved the budget and want you to start next week." It looks like you're going to have to postpone your plans to go home again. That's okay, I said. I don't have anything to go back to anyway. I felt a sense of liberation as I walked the streets of a strange city. The past is past, and I am no longer bound by them. My revenge is complete. Justice has been done. Olivia and Leo paid the price for their betrayal, and me, I'm finally free. Yesterday dies with yesterday. Things are born anew today. I walked into the future and never looked back. That's the end of today's story. For more captivating tales, hit subscribe and never miss an episode.